Hercules, Hercules. We have the receipts. We don't like to say, I told you so around here. But we told you so. We got the receipts. The establishment media is totally pissed off. They're in absolute shambles. And they really are trying to figure out their next move. They told you it couldn't be done. They told you that this tactic of maximum pressure would drag this conflict in Iran out for multiple years, and it would become another Afghanistan. And isn't that what they said? This is going to become another Afghanistan. They told you that this would turn into a global disaster and would destroy the American economy. But if you look at the headlines today and you look at the video I made the other day, you will understand that my boy Trump, the Trumpster, the orange man, he is playing a game of global chess. And those of us who are tapped in to the frequency that the president is emitting understand exactly what's going on. Have you heard the news? That's my first question. Have you read the headlines? That's my second question. Right now, a tentative agreement, a 60-day truce extension between the United States and Iran is officially on the table, including certain perks, including but not limited to unrestricted traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. The blockade will be totally lifted, and all it awaits is the stroke, pause, of a certain man named Donald Trump's pen. Our president in total control with the IRGC terrorist regime in shambles, begging the United States to come to the table to make a deal and giving up everything just to get us to talk to them seriously. This is exactly what we wanted, and we got it. And after we watch this clip to get you all up to speed, I'm gonna explain it to you again. I explained it to you last time, but I'm explaining it to you again for those of y'all in the back. This next explanation is for those of y'all in the back, but let's tap into this clip real quick.
Scripps News has now confirmed that a new deal has been reached for a 60-day ceasefire between the United States and Iran. It is now just waiting on President Trump to sign off. Meanwhile, the military did carry out those new strikes in Iran. An official saying the target was a site near the Strait of Hormuz that threatened American forces and shipping in that region. The military also intercepting drones that were launched from Iran. So let's get the latest now from the White House on that new deal. Our White House correspondent Jacob Garden-Schwartz joins us now. And Jacob, as they say, the devil is always in the details. Are we getting those details now?
Well, we're getting some of them, though certainly many outstanding questions. I'll tell you what we do know. Two U.S. sources familiar with the matter confirming to Scripps News that there is a tentative agreement, a memorandum of understanding between the United States and Iran to extend the ceasefire that took effect in late April for at least 60 days and launch direct talks on the nuclear issue. Now, we should be clear, this is not a deal to end the war, and the key issues that brought the United States into this conflict in the first place remain unsolved. But if this deal is signed, and as you noted, President Trump has yet to give his formal sign-off, here's what it would include. The Strait of Hormuz would be opened to commercial traffic, and in exchange, the United States would slowly begin to lift the naval blockade, happening in steps, as it's been described to us. As Iran upholds its side of the bargain, the United States would remove more and more naval blockade assets from the region. Some sources also indicating that the U.S. would lift some sanctions on Iranian oil. Now, that is notably something President Trump explicitly ruled out during his cabinet meeting yesterday. One of of those outstanding cues to drill down as to whether that's actually the case. Now, there are, again, a number of outstanding cues, perhaps especially important, who actually maintains control of the strait. We were talking yesterday about a draft of this deal that leaked in Iranian media that noted that Iran and Oman, the two nations that border the strait on either side, would jointly maintain control. That's something President Trump explicitly rejected, suggesting that no country should maintain control, that there should be complete free transit through the strait, and going so far as to suggest that the U.S. might bomb Oman, a key U.S. ally who has been helping broker talks with Iran during this process, if they try to toll the strait. Here's some of what the president had to say about Oman yesterday.
But they're going to outweight me, or we'll outweight him. He's got the midterms. I don't care about the midterms. Look what happened last night. That was the prelude to the midterms. People understand it. They know that, very simple, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Now, the strait's going to be open to everybody.
And who would control it?
International waters. Nobody's going to control it. We're going to watch over it. We'll watch over it, but nobody's going to control it. That's part of the negotiation that we have. They would like to control it. Nobody's going to control it. It's international waters, and Oman will behave just like everybody else, who will have to blow them up. They understand.
My boy Trump is talking that talk. He's walking that walk. He's doing everything he said he would do. And I love when I get the people in the comments. I love my people who hold their phone straight up and down in portrait mode when they watch stuff, because I know y'all got questions, and this is the channel for y'all. You know what I'm saying? That's why I started shooting in portrait mode, so y'all could get these jewels. Somebody is asking the question, how is this ceasefire a victory for the United States? Well, guys, let's look at the real chessboard. Understand this. I want to look at the chessboard. I know a lot of y'all don't even know how to play chess, and a little few of y'all who do learn how to play in jail from people who is just as dumb as you. But let me just, and I'm not talking to my real ones. My real ones, I see y'all in here. Y'all don't like to talk a whole lot. Y'all ain't about that talk. Y'all about that action. I get that, so I'm here to deliver you the facts. Let's look at this chessboard. Here's the question you need to be asking. Why is Tehran, that's a city in Iran that we refer to as a representation of the whole country of Iran. Why is Tehran, a country that just hours ago was literally trading strikes with the United States and Israel, right? A couple days ago. This is how it was going. We would strike a little something in their country. They would immediately throw 1,000 missiles at Israel. And then they'd turn around and throw 500 missiles at UAE and a couple dozen missiles at Saudi Arabia. And then they'll throw a couple dozen missiles and drones at Kuwait. This is the way it was going for like 2 months, right? They were ready for the smoke. They wanted to fight. They said, we ain't bowing down to y'all. Y'all got missiles, we got missiles. They ain't stopped making missiles when they made George fool. We ready to go, right? But here's what happened. Here's what happened. China and Russia totally hung Iran out to dry. China and Russia, the people that for years, doomers and black pill people have been telling you, America better watch out, because if they mess with Iran, China and Russia gonna come, and then China, Russia, and Iran gonna jump America, and they gonna whoop America, and America ain't gonna be the world power no more. China and Russia saw the economic anvil that Donald Trump was about to drop on their damn head. They looked at their own interest, the interest of their own people, and they completely abandoned Iran to fend for itself. Beijing did not come in on a white horse to the rescue. Xi didn't come in rolling on his Chinese horse and say, we got y'all back, United States, you better back off. No, they didn't do that. They didn't do that. Putin, the cosmonaut, he didn't bail him out. He didn't come through, hey, we got your back. He's too busy fighting a war over in his own region that he got to deal with, that he ain't got control over. Understand that. Understand that. So Iran is cut off. They're isolated. And they're staring down the barrel of not only an economic gun, but of a damn missile launching chamber where the United States holds total control over not only their skies, they have control over the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran is dying right now. That country is losing $450 million a day. Understand that. In a country that was already in economic turmoil. Their inflation rate was already like 40%. And because of this blockade, their inflation has jumped up to 80%. I'm talking a loaf of bread in Iran is literally like $135. They had no recourse. And a lot of people don't understand that Iran realized that it had no more leverage. They had nothing left. They had no alternative but to come to the table and negotiate a peace deal, which leaves the United States in total control of everything that is happening in that region. Let me explain this to you. I just explained to y'all how Iran was retaliating with the missile strikes. And they did a really good job. You know, they did better than even I thought they would do because they were able to throw some missiles at Israel. You know, they were able to kind of hit a few American bases that had been evacuated, but they were throwing out missiles. And I kind of was like, damn, these boys sure do got a lot of missiles. And you guys were saying, well, if Trump is controlling everything and he sunk their Navy and how are they still launching missiles, right? Well, what we're learning now, well, we knew this, those of us who know, if you know, you know. What we are confirming now is that China and Russia were helping Iran target U.S. targets, right? Locate U.S. military targets and specific targets within Israel. So when you saw Trump go to China, the stuff that was said off camera that the news media was not privy to, it probably went a little something like this. Xi, we know your ass is helping Iran target our people. We know you're helping Iran target these other Middle Eastern countries. But here's what we also know. We know that we are controlling what comes in and out of that strait. And these other countries around that strait, they're on our side when it comes to stopping Iran from monopolizing the Strait of Hormuz. You can either stop helping them or you will face economic disaster as we totally cut you off from the supply of global oil. And that's exactly what Trump was going to do. China is not a country that needs to be dealt with head on in a militaristic endeavor. China needs fuel. They don't have any oil. They have refineries, but don't have oil. Why? Because they bring the oil from other countries, they refine it, and then some of it, most of it they use, and a lot of it they ship it out to other countries, right? He cut off their energy lifeline. And so she had no choice but to say, look, man, I'm down to help you with Iran. I ain't gonna mess around no more. You know what I'm saying? I promise I'm gonna stop cheating. You know, China was like a bad husband or a bad boyfriend. They had to make all types of concessions for their survival. It was not two equals coming to the table negotiating terms. It was President Trump helping Xi save a little bit of face in front of his own people, but saying, we know what you're doing. You're gonna stop doing it, or you will go down. Your country will be sent back to the Stone Age. And she had no choice. And let me explain to you how we know this is true. You don't see any more missiles flying. The United States bombed Iran 2 days ago. What was Iran doing every time they were bombed by the United States? They were retaliating by attacking Israel. They were retaliating by attacking Kuwait. They were retaliating by attacking Saudi, right? Why didn't you get any retaliation? All you got is warnings. Oh, you will pay. You will suffer. You did this and all you got was lip service. Because these goofballs were getting their targeting capabilities from China. Once China got removed off the chessboard by the United States, guess what? They didn't have the ability. They no longer had the ability to identify and locate targets to shoot missiles at and to shoot drones at. Let me tell you this. And then you notice after Trump left, what happened immediately after Trump left? A quiz for $5 million. Who went to China directly after Trump, immediately after Trump left. Putin. That's where him and China, remember that they the big dogs. They Iran's backup. They came together and was like, are we still helping these fools or are they on their own? They sat at that table and said, bro, they on their own. They said they on their own. The United States is way OP. We don't have the ability to deal with them. Russia can't barely deal with Ukraine right now. China, they're not even on the chessboard militaristically. Only thing they got that could deter is nukes, and that's a deterrent, right? But China was like, we're not going to ruin our robust economy to help Iran because they don't want to negotiate and they want to act tough. Russia's like, dude, we in damage control right now. As a matter of fact, news just hit the press tonight that now Zelensky and Putin are talking about doing a memorandum much like this one to stop the fighting over there. Guys, Trump did exactly what needed to be done to reach this point. Even when he says, I don't care about the damn midterms. You see what happened? Trump has dominated. Donald Trump has dominated the political elections in this country when it comes to primaries. Trump endorsed 101 candidates in the primary for the House of Representatives. 101 of those candidates won their primary. Trump endorsed 9 candidates for the Senate. All 9 of those candidates won their primary. MAGA is still in control of the Republican Party. So Trump really doesn't have to worry about the midterms anymore because he's like, look, it's MAGA or nothing. What was bothering Trump was if anti-Trump rhinos were to get in those positions and then go side with the Democrats, and now he has a problem on his hands. Now things are leveraged in the favor of the Democrats, right? So Trump is good with the midterms, but I love what he said. I don't care about the midterms. You see what just happened with Ken Paxton and Tallarico or Cornyn, the Trump guy won. So now Trump is like, I can just fully kick these dudes' ass, and they have no choice. But everything you heard about BRICS, everything you heard about China, everything you heard about Russia, it was total bullcrap. They folded. They folded 1,000%. And in that moment, in this moment right now, the geopolitical narrative of the left, the geopolitical narrative of the doomers and the black pill guys, the geopolitical narrative of the conspiracy theorist dude who's on your damn Facebook feed has been totally destroyed. It's been totally dismantled. Every country they thought would come unite with each other to attack the United States folded like a bad hand at Pai Gow poker, dude. And there's nothing they can do about it. Trump's victory is so complete that now even the spineless UK has a couple thousand troops ready to be deployed in the Persian Gulf. These guys are like, okay, their Navy sucks now, so they have no way to get them over there, but they are ready and willing to come serve and be cannon fodder for the United States if the United States was said to be like decided, hey, we are going to do a ground invasion. Okay, you Brits go first. They'd have to go because UK was hedging its bet to see who was going to come out on top, because there's part of me that really believed that the UK actually thought that Iran, with the help of China, and Russia, actually stood a chance against the United States. But now that it's been proven that they don't, guess what? UK is like, man, we trying to get back. We trying to get back in good graces. What you need us to do? But let's keep on going with this clip a little bit longer, and so we can get a little bit more insight on what's going on. And if you're in the comments and you don't agree with me, state your case, man. I'll throw you the link. You can come up here and try to explain your mental gymnastics to us. But this is very obvious.
Stand there.
We'll have to blow him up, the president's threat to a key U.S. ally in the region. Those comments sparking so many sort of exclamation points that there was some concern that perhaps the president had misspoken and was not suggesting that Oman might be a target. Well, now we know that is certainly not the case, because the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, posting this morning, writing quite directly, the U.S. will, quote, not tolerate any effort to impose a tolling system in the Strait of Hormuz. Oman, in particular, should know that U.S. Treasury will aggressively target any actors involved in facilitating tolls for the strait.
So now the Middle Easterners are like this. We got our ass kicked. We got our ass handed to us by America. So we're going to submit to America, but we're going to submit to them with this caveat. They allow us to put a toll on the international waters of the Strait of Hormuz. And Trump said it right. Trump knows exactly how to deal with these people. Trump knows exactly how to deal with these people. Some groups of people, some countries, some cultures, some ethnicities, they only understand the boot. And as long as you try to talk to them and give them respect as upright Homo sapiens, they'll never understand or be able to comprehend what you're trying to say, because all they understand is the boot. If you try to reason with them, they will take that as weakness, and they'll always try to, push the envelope. Oh, okay, we'll submit to you, Mr. Trump, but we're gonna try to put a toll on the strait. Look at what happened when China abandoned Iran. Iran immediately went and started trying to place more mines in the Strait of Hormuz, and they got obliterated. Why? Because it was in that moment that they knew they were fucked. It was in that moment when their allies abandoned them, they knew we're cooked. We have no way to retaliate against these dudes militaristically, so we are willing to do what terrorists do. We're willing to destroy everyone. We're willing to destroy the Strait of Hormuz rather than allow everyone to access it freely. And Trump was like, we're not having that, and he smoked those fools. He took them straight out, which is exactly what he should have done. Guys, listen, if you don't agree with me, here goes the link, man. Come on up. I'll give you, here goes. This is the one channel where you could bring all the nonsense up here. And I mean, of course, I gotta talk with my viewers, right? But you can come up. There is no logical explanation, and there's no way you can do enough mental gymnastics to paint this as a victory for Iran. Think about it. Just think about it. Trump killed their Ayatollah. They believe that this man is literally God's representative on earth. Trump killed this dude in like 9 hours. Then proceeded to destroy and kill over 50 of their top cabinet members. That's their whole government. If 50 people from the top of the United States died immediately, understand, we wouldn't even know who to put in place. We would have to have a primary or a whole nother election. Understand that. So when that happens, in my opinion, there can be no peace. I can't go back to the negotiating table. That's like somebody slapping your mama. I can't, dude, you done did the most. I can't negotiate with you now. I gotta kill you. I gotta kill you or die trying to kill you. The mere fact that these dudes are sitting here, the mere fact that these dudes are sitting at the table with the person who killed their supreme leader. Y'all understand something. The old supreme leader, Khomeini, he the daddy of the new supreme leader. Think about, just let your brain wrap your mind around, that concept and allow it to slip into a silky pool of ignorance or whatever you want to. Think about it. Wrap your brain around this idea, this fact. The guy who Trump slaughtered, that is the father of the man who is now trying to come to the table to negotiate. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. And you guys are like, no, Iran's really winning. China has totally abandoned Iran. Russia has totally abandoned Iran. Where's the win? Where's the flipping win? There's no win in that.
So, positive signs emerging that there is this deal. Again, still waiting the president's sign off, but a number of outstanding cues as to the exact logistics of how this works. And notably, no movement on the key issue that brought the U.S. into this conflict in the first place, Iran's nuclear ambitions and the enriched uranium already in the country. So.
Jacob, in the meantime, the rockets are still flying. What can you tell us about these U.S. strikes on Iran and the Iranian response?
That's right. There have now been several rounds of retaliatory strikes in each direction over the past few days, as recently as last night and this morning. Scripps News confirming yesterday evening that U.S. Central Command shot down 4 Iranian one-way attack drones that officials say posed a direct threat to the Strait of Hormuz, as well as a drone control system near the strait where they say a 5th launch was imminent. A U.S. official telling us, quote, these actions were measured, purely defensive, and intended to maintain the ceasefire.
Now listen, the United States shot down some attack drones, right, that were aimed at the Strait of Hormuz. Let me pull this together for you. Understand, the reason why they're shooting drones and not missiles, the reason why they're shooting drones at the Strait of Hormuz is because they can't shoot them anywhere else. Remember the play. Remember the playbook. They hit us, we hit Israel. They hit us, we hit UAE. They hit us, we hit Kuwait. Remember? That was the playbook. Now, they have no long-range targeting. So now all they can do is throw drones at the strait. How are look, let me tell you something. I believe the ship was the USS Abraham Lincoln, right? Let me confirm that though. Hold on. See, because I don't like to say nothing. I don't like to give out no misinformation. So I believe yes, there's a USS Abraham Lincoln, which is the 5th Nimitz class aircraft carrier in the United States Navy. Now this is a big ass. This is like a city on the sea, right? Iran launched, I want to say they said Iran launched 100 missiles at it. Hold on, let me see. Okay, yes. So Iran launched 101 missiles at the USS Abraham Lincoln like 2 months ago. When you understand that not a single one of those damn missiles hit that ship, an aircraft carrier, I mean, how big is an aircraft carrier? How big is this damn thing? Let me see. How big is this aircraft carrier? Now remember, this thing's sitting right off the coast of Iran, right? It's right there. It's like you live in your city, it's sitting like right at the beach. I live by the beach. Okay. This aircraft carrier is 1,092 square feet overall. Wait, length. The length is 1,092 feet, 333 meters. The width is 252 feet, right? At its widest. This thing, the flight deck area is 4.5 acres. That's 4 football fields. Understand that. Just the flight deck area is 4.5 football fields, right? This thing is huge. This thing is gigantic. They launched 101 missiles at this thing. They launched 101 missiles at this thing, and none of them hit it. So when you say, oh, they shot drones at it. They shot drones at the Strait of Hormuz. Understand, the only reason they fired anything is because they had to fire something so they wouldn't lose all credibility. I mean, at this point, they were losing credibility. They will lose credibility even with the fundamental extremists, right? Iran is cooked. We hit them with missiles, and they trying to throw David's rock from his slingshot at us. Understand that. Understand that. They're done. If you just look at the situation, it's like a game. You can look at a basketball game and see the team is down by 15 with 15 seconds left, and you like, yeah, ain't no mathematical way, ain't no real possible. There's no possible way for this team to come back and win. And that's where Iran is right now. There's no possible way for Iran to come out of this conflict on top. And they understand that now. Why do you think after the United States, now let's look at timeline. After the United States bombed them, right? Immediately after the United States bombed them, Iran threw back some drones, which were shot down. United States hit their ass again. Next day, 60-day agreement. Just look at your timeline. They got hit by the United States. They threw something back. The United States shot that down. And the next morning, they signed a deal for a 60-day to extend the ceasefire for 60 days. And say, y'all could control the United States is not even withdrawing their troops. A gradual drawdown. Remember they're like, you got to leave immediately and a gradual drawdown. And Trump warned them, y'all try to throw a toll on the strait, we bombing y'all again. So the United States ships will still be there. Iran just has to agree that they're not going to try to do anything to mess with the strait. And then the United States will be like, all right, cool. We out. Y'all lost y'all whole country. Y'all lost y'all entire economy just to capitulate in the end. You could have gave that up a long time ago.
Then again this morning, CENTCOM announced that Iran had fired a ballistic missile towards Kuwait, noting that CENTCOM successfully intercepted, or that was intercepted by Kuwaiti forces, I should say. And CENTCOM, importantly, saying that this, quote, egregious ceasefire violation by the Iranian regime happened hours after Iran launched forces at the U.S. Now, the IRGC, Iran's military, confirming it was responsible for that attack, is suggesting that it was targeting the base where the U.S. strikes on Iran emanated from. Both sides now, suggesting that there have been violations of the ceasefire.
Look at what they said. If anyone attacks you, then attack them in return as they attacked you. This response is a serious warning to let the enemy know that aggression will not go unanswered. I told you guys. They're like, we're just throwing something out there to let them know that we are willing to throw something out there, but we really can't throw nothing too far. They launched one missile. One. These guys were launching thousands of missiles in a day. They launched one missile at Kuwait that was easily intercepted. They're done. They're not even on the ropes. They're getting a technical TKO, like a technical knockout. Right? They're getting a technical knockout. These guys are done. Look at these people. Look at the cope. Trump doesn't understand that Iran is basically Iraq on steroids. No, they're not. How? If someone's on steroids, that implies that they're strong. They launched one missile at Kuwait, got intercepted, launched 9 drones at the United States, got intercepted, and then signed and then agreed to a peace deal, and they're praying that Donald Trump will sign it. Guys, come on, man. When you gonna step over into reality with the rest of us? Once they lost China and Russia's targeting systems, bro. Once they lost China and Russia's targeting systems, they were done. They're done. Their targeting systems have been gone. And then you'll say, oh, well, I thought Trump destroyed this and destroyed that. Guys, he did destroy their capabilities. But then China and Russia came in and was like, we'll help you. They were helping them in the shadows. Iran been cooked in its own right? But if they have help from China and Russia, they can still try to throw missiles at Israel in different places. Now China and Russia have totally stepped back. Just face it, the conservatives were right. For years, the political left and all the people in the media, everybody on cable news and stuff, they were screaming, the America First foreign policy is reckless. It's going to lead to World War III. Oh, peace through strength, it's a myth. That's not how it works. You got to use diplomacy. Huh. Look at the board. Get out your damn feelings and look at the board. Trump did not just drag us into an endless war. Trump took 3 months. And Iran, he took 3 months to totally dismantle what the leftists and the doomers were telling us was one of the strongest regimes on the planet. Understand that. Trump drew a line in the sand, said, this is what it is. He reopened Hormuz. I don't know if y'all know this, but ships are going through there all day. Every day, ships are passing through the Strait of Hormuz. Why do you think the prices of gas are going down? It's open. He dismantled Iran's nuclear program. Now they're agreeing to hand over the enriched uranium and the nuclear dust. And instead of just bowing down and caving and giving them a pallet of cash like Obama and them boys, he held the line. He played chicken until the other side blinked. He wins. That's why he's a winner. Because when you give up, he keeps going. When you say, let's quit because my gas is too high, he keeps going. He's willing to do the things. He's willing to do the things today that others will not do, so that America can continue to have the things tomorrow that others can never dream of having. Listen to me. He's willing to do the things today that others will not do, so that America can have the things tomorrow that other countries can't even dream of having. And I give credit for that to Les Brown, because that's his quote with me putting a little funk on it at the end. You mad because Trump is winning, and by way of him winning, we're winning. Who's mad at being a winner? Who gets angry because this guy executed? You know why they're mad? They're mad because they didn't see it ending this way. They're mad because they didn't see this coming. But pause. But if you are like me and you have the gift of foresight, if you a man with testicular fortitude and the foresight that God has all endowed us all with, I saw this coming from a mile away. I've been telling y'all years back, BRIC was bull crap. We've been telling y'all, Russia's a paper tiger, BRICS is bullshit. I had people arguing with me about the Russia-Ukraine situation. I was like, you guys have to understand, Russia can't even project strength more than 500 miles outside of its own border. Understand that. Russia is like St. Petersburg, Moscow, super nice. Outside of those cities, third world country. Understand that. My cousin is a naval cryptologist. He lived in Russia for like 8 years. Understand that. Y'all can say whatever y'all want to. The disgruntled Africans talked all that shit. They were wrong. The disgruntled white boys talked all that shit. They were wrong. The disgruntled anti-Semitic, the newly anti-Semitic African Americans, because African Americans just became anti-Semitic like this year. Social media brainwashed us. They were all wrong. They were all wrong. And look, people like me come through, we try to tell y'all. We try to talk to y'all and reason with y'all based on facts, and you don't want to listen. And then you end up looking stupid in the long run. It ain't about your feelings. It's about the facts and the reality of the world as it is today. This was an absolute masterclass in 21st century diplomacy. No appeasements, no pallets of cash, no endless compromises, just raw geopolitical leverage and militaristic dominance. Everybody can try to downplay it as much as they want to, but at the end of the day's got to end, and they all know the truth. You could drop any comment you have to me in that comment section. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Right? Iran dustpan lap band, Trump in 5, motherfucker. It's just the way it is. I'm coming at y'all like Uncle Shay Shay. Trump cooked their ass. And China and Russia have now realized they still the big dog on the planet, and we ain't got a damn thing to worry about. Guys, I gave y'all the link. If you have some alternative information, you were invited to come up here and share it. You didn't do that because you don't. All you got is your feelings. Teardrops running down the side of my face. Head ass people. But you guys just need to keep getting your politics from over here, man. Your boy, I'm just telling y'all straight up. And it's with love, too. I'm not doing it to make you mad. I'm not doing it to hurt your vagina. None of that. I'm just keeping it real with you. I don't, it does me no good. I get no pleasure in our people walking around ignorant. And when I say our people, I'm talking about people of all ethnicities, races, colors, creeds, all that. The American voter has to become more informed. The American voter has to stop being so easily persuaded by a conspiracy and blatant lies. Understand that. There's something else I want to talk about today.
Illinois Governor.
I want to talk about what's going on in the city of Chicago. I know y'all came here for Trump, but we got to talk about this situation in Chicago. And it really all ties in with each other. Let's be real. Because the same way you got people in these comments trying to gaslight you and convince you to believe a false narrative that even they know is true. Well, understand that this is what these people have been trained to do by the liberals, whether it's the liberal politicians or the corrupt media. This is what they've been trained to do by these entities. Just keep repeating the lie until they're forced to believe it. And you can repeat the lie all you want to, but we're never going to believe you because we know the truth. And this is exactly what the governor of Chicago is doing. I mean, the mayor of Chicago is doing. Brandon Black-Ass Johnson. He is gaslighting the people of Chicago, and he's gaslighting the concerned people of America into believing that radicalized teens taking over downtown areas of urban cities, right, of cities, beating up old people, running over police officers with vehicles, shooting each other, jumping on females in large groups, and then laughing about it is not mob violence. He wants you to call these gatherings. They're not a vicious mob. These are just gatherings. What gathering you ever been to where an old lady get jumped by 18 teenage boys? What gathering have you ever been to where a fool get arrested by the cops, and when they arrest his black ass, he has a gun on him, and it's revealed that he just shot 4 people, and they talking to him, and he runs over 5 cops, and they say, "Oh, Brandon Johnson, these are just gatherings. This isn't mob violence. Let's tap into this."
And injured across the city, including several teens. Mike Tobin has the latest. Mike?
Well, Dana, here we go again. Summer kicks off, the holiday when we're supposed to remember those who paid the ultimate price in service to the nation, and the whole thing gets overwhelmed by violence. Early Sunday morning, another teen takeover a little west of the University of Illinois at Chicago. Chicago police showed up to disperse the crowd, and they were rammed by a car. 5 officers were transported to local hospitals. Each officer survived. Now, police say the driver is 18-year-old Rashad Johnson. He had a weapon with him. He's facing multiple felony charges, including attempted murder, and he's expected in court today. That takeover, just one of many across the city. In the Little Village neighborhood, officers heard gunfire, responded, and found 14 shot. The youngest, 14 years old. The gunman fled the scene. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson went back to a familiar message, and he said parents need to know where their kids are at 1:30 in the morning.
So these kids taking over Chicago, right? Now, I don't want to get caught up on this because I'm very passionate about this topic, and I've been saying this for a lot of years, and people didn't listen to me. Look at the mayor's response. This dude ran over 5 cops. He had a gun. He shot other kids down at the mob teen takeover, right? Brandon Johnson said that he was going to fix this by giving kids jobs when he was running for election. He said they need jobs. If you give them jobs, they wouldn't do this. Now, I'm going to fix this by giving them jobs has turned into, oh, well, the parents need to know where their kids at. Here's my question. As a parent of a 17-year-old daughter, you stripped us of the ability to discipline our children. You stripped us of the ability to whoop their ass to where they feared us more than they feared the police and they friends who are peer pressuring them into doing wild stuff. You stripped us of that ability because some kids listen And if you just say something, they'll do it. But if you were a kid like I was a kid, yeah, I need a little bit of fire put to my ass to just know that my parents were serious. Okay? They stripped us of the ability to discipline our kids according to the transgression that they commit, right? The kid did school one time, talk to his ass. Kid did school for a whole week, he need his ass whooped. They stripped us of that. They told our kids, you don't gotta listen to them. If they touch you, they gonna go to jail. Then you really gonna be able to run the streets and do stuff. And the kids learned. I don't gotta listen to my mama. I don't gotta listen to my daddy. I'll ask you a question. If your kid woke up tomorrow like, fuck that mama, I ain't going to school, what would you do to him to make him go? You can't beat the hell out of him. If you beat him, he go tell the teacher, and the teacher call the social service, and now the kid is gone. What you gonna do? And if you're really honest with yourself, you understand there's nothing I can do. Pulverize my kid and risk losing my kid forever. That's the way it is. They took your ability to discipline your kid. They turned these kids into demons. They took, the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child. They took the rod out of your hand. Now the child is spoiled and ruined, and they're engaging in criminal activity all over the damn city. Now this lame ass pencil neck geek of a governor is saying, oh, y'all got to know where y'all kids at. We could know where they at all damn day. But what can we do to make sure that they stay in the house and they don't go outside and commit crime? Well, there's nothing we could do. Because if I whoop they butt, guess what? You're taking me to jail. If I whoop they butt, that you're going to take me to jail. So what's the point of me knowing where they are? I have no ability to discipline them and force them to come home. But notice, this is what the socialists and the leftists do. They create a monster and then they blame you. They blame the parent. And the parent is sitting there like, what the hell can I do? Shit, these parents out here are scared of their own kids. These parents are scared of their own children because the government has emboldened the children to the point that the children challenge and will actively fight the parents. Back when you was a kid, you was scared of what your daddy might do to you. You was scared of what your mama might do to your ass if you tried to raise your hand to her. Now, these kids is like, I could slap the shit out of my mama, and if she try to touch me, she going to jail. What? Now, all of a sudden, y'all better get control over them wild animals. Hell no. Nah. Don't tell me to get control over the dog after you done fed it gunpowder.
Video from the evening of Memorial Day shows large crowds of teens taking over 57th Street Beach and streets in Hyde Park. Police said there were several hundred. The rowdy crowd is seen fighting, dancing on top of squad cars, and throwing objects at officers as police tried to clear the area. Chicago police say 53 people were arrested and 9 weapons, including guns, knives, tasers, and bear mace, were recovered. About half of those charged were minors for things like weapons charges, reckless conduct, and failing to disperse. Police are also still searching for the gunman who shot and injured an 18-year-old and 2 19-year-olds just hours after the crowd moved into Hyde Park later that night, just blocks away.
So this all culminated.
So they created this chaos. Brandon Johnson, oh, they're not criminals. They're not criminals. They're just having gatherings. Bro, you found 9 guns. You had to arrest 53 people because they didn't want to listen. These kids won't even listen to the damn police. The police got guns, y'all. Please tell me what you think the damn parents gonna do. If these little bastards won't listen to the police, what are the parents gonna do? Your mama ain't got no gun, and if she do, she can't shoot you with it. She can't shoot you with it. And this is what I'm saying. They've totally emboldened these kids to go out and do wild stuff, and now all of a sudden, oh, we gonna toss it back to you. I know y'all gotta feel me on this. Mostly peaceful protest. Facts. Here. Oh, shoot. I can't believe I just did that. That was very dumb of me. I had the mayor lined up with his excuses and messed it up. But I want y'all to listen to this mayor, man. I want y'all to listen to this mayor and what he says needs to be done about these kids. This guy, he's more worried about the language used to describe the doggone criminals, right? Than he is worried about actually making Chicago a peaceful place again where people could actually live and raise their family. This is what happens when the state is sponsoring the destruction of the youth. This is what's going on. This guy is an agent of chaos.
Absolutely. Again, I'm going to thank him for his recognition of the harm that slavery caused across the globe, and how, as we celebrate, as you all know, we're going into our 250th year as a nation. This nation is not what it is without the free labor and the forced labor of black people.
Black kids is taking over Chicago, running over cops, killing each other, and the mayor of Chicago talking about slavery. Think about that, y'all. Think about that. Black kids are running over police officers, killing each other. Killing each other. And the mayor of Chicago is talking about slavery. You can't even arrest these kids, so how are they oppressed? If you can't place them under arrest, they cannot be oppressed. I want y'all to say it with me. If you cannot place them under arrest, they cannot be oppressed.
And so that apology and that recognition is very much aligned with my ongoing effort to repair the harm that has been caused by slavery.
So just a complete lack of priorities. But the problem for Mayor Brandon Johnson is his failures don't just exist in a vacuum. The city of Chicago is the economic engine of the state of Illinois.
Right. So Brandon Lehman, shout out to bro, he's bringing up something very serious. Chicago is the biggest city in Illinois. So if Chicago is run down and in disrepair and companies are leaving Chicago, that's a lot of tax revenue that the state is losing from that major city. Just as New York City does a lot of the heavy lifting for the state of New York, right? Chicago does a lot of heavy lifting for the state of Illinois, right? So when Brandon Johnson allows Chicago to become an absolute dump, the state of Illinois and the governor, they're going to have something to say about that. This bullshit, white supremacy and reparations and sweet tea and catfish fish fries, that crap, collard greens, cornbread, the soul food talk, that ain't going to work. These white folks want their money. They built the system so that the state could get money from the cities and then distribute the money based on the need and, this type of thing and cover that state budget. You could talk all your chitlin speak, all the chitlin talk you want to. But there's a system. The system needs to be run according to how it's designed. And if you're not doing that, you need to go. And so now we're seeing the governor of of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, he is now openly attacking the mayor of Chicago, his fellow Democrat. He is openly attacking him. And I'm not mad at JB's big head ass for doing this.
I know that the mayor has no plan. He has come up with no plan at all about how the Bears would end up in the city of Chicago. So that's problematic. I'd love them to be in the city, but we're 3 years in now and he still has no plan. And in fact, this is kind of typical. The mayor has shown up every spring at the end of session to pronounce what he would like to see happen. And as you know, the budget gets put together starting in November. I present my budget, well, really we start at the beginning of a fiscal year, but about in November, we're in the details of the budget. I present that budget to the legislature in February. So that seems like a good time period to come talk to the governor's office. Then there's February to May. There's all that time to come talk to the legislature, which has my budget in hand, or the governor's office. Again, we've seen almost nothing out of the mayoral administration here on that subject, or really any other. And so to show up in May and have a bunch of demands seems like late in the game, and it's unfortunate that's happened most years.
So if you don't,
So listen. So listen, that's happened most years. So most years, Brandon Johnson, he's been totally inept as mayor. And when Brandon Johnson was attacking Trump, him and Pritzker were best friends. They was hugged up, taking pictures, getting photo ops. But now that Brandon Johnson's radical socialist communist policies are hurting the revenue coming out of the city of Chicago, JB throwing him under the bus. Because something in me believes that JB wants to run for president, right? And just like Gavin Newsom, as we call him here, as we affectionately refer to him in this lovely state of California, just as Gavin Newsom is going to be basically deemed unelectable due to his disastrous management of California, J.B. Pritzker will have the mismanagement of Illinois hounding him if he tries to run for president. At this point, they're going to have to just run Kamala again. And I don't think she'll win. At this point, they will have to run Kamala again. And and that is a for sure loss in 2028.
From ever taking place. There's majority of these.
it's to go after social media companies.
We prevent the vast majority of these from ever.
Oh, I forgot to mention this too. Okay, so now Brandon Johnson is like, he's not saying the whole idea, I'ma just give them jobs, right? That's not working no more. People know that that's BS. So now you know who he's blaming for the teen takeovers and the violence? He's blaming social media companies. He's like, yeah, we want to tax the social media companies for their involvement in the teen takeovers. These guys, it's all the blame game. Man, come on, bro.
Are taking place. There's an effort in city council to hold the social media apparatuses accountable. I believe that we should continue to explore that, and I'm going to continue to work with Alderman Hall around that. It's why we're actually taxing these big tech companies for the role that they have played in harming the mental health and well-being of our young people.
And this is a reoccurring.
So this dude is like, social media is harming the mental health of our young people. It's their fault that these kids are becoming criminals and going to take over the city. Sorry, guys. It's social media's fault that the kids are taking over the downtown areas, robbing people, beating people up, and running over police officers, right? Here's the issue. Here's the issue. Brandon, you are the one preventing the police officers from arresting these kids. Brandon, you are the one preventing the police and the DA and all these people from charging these kids with very serious charges according to the very serious crimes that they are committing. The mayor is blocking the police from enforcing the law. But he wants to blame the results of that on social media. These people are pathetic. They have not found the person that they are not willing to blame for their ineptitude. Tucker Carlson was 100% right when he said that the radical left is nothing more than a bunch of unremarkable people trying to force you to say that they are remarkable, trying to force you to believe that they're special. Anyone, a 3-year-old child could play the blame game. I didn't do it. It's his fault. I remember when my little sister was young. She was real young. She was wearing diapers. This girl would poop in her diaper and blame it on somebody else. This girl would poop in her diaper and would be like, oh, you stink? No, he did it. That's child's play. The blame game is child's play. Bro, you the mayor. You're the black male mayor, the top of the totem pole. And there's no one over you in that city. And your ass is blaming Facebook. Democrats, how do y'all vote for these people, man? This man blaming Facebook, dog. This man is blaming Facebook. We talking about practice. How are you blaming Facebook for a situation you literally created? It doesn't make any sense to me, and I hope to God it doesn't make any sense.
We're not talking about mob actions. I didn't say that. Hold on a second, okay? Respectfully. These large gatherings, just hold on a second, y'all.
He's stopping the media because he doesn't want them to call the large group of black kids known as the mob, as a mob, right? Like the mob is fickle, Shakespeare. Any large group of people doing violence is called a mob, right? That's being controlled by emotion. That's a mob. This illiterate son of a gun, he is so retarded. He believes that when they're saying mob, they're referring to the Italian mob, organized crime mob. They're talking about mob is in a large group of people. Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, believes that they are referring to the organized crime syndicates known as the mob. Watch.
I promise you, we have time to talk. It's important that we speak of these dynamics in an appropriate way. This is not to obfuscate what is actually taking place.
This was the scene near Roosevelt and Canal Sunday night. Groups looted a convenience store. More than 36 teenagers were arrested, along with a 12-year-old and at least one 20-year-old. Store owners say it was the second such incident in that area in just the past few weeks. And today, Mayor Johnson commended Chicago police for the way they handled it.
To the best of their ability, I believe that they attempted to engage with our young people, with community partners, giving as much warning as they possibly could. And, unfortunately, arrests, were made.
So that.
Unfortunately, arrests were made. Bro, thank God arrests were made. What do you mean? Every arrest that is made in a situation like that is we are very fortunate to have it made. I love Chicago. My family lives there, but my cousin who I really love and go stay with, she lives in Indiana. These days, I go hang with her in Indiana more than I walk around Chicago. I ain't taking my kids to Chicago in day or night these days. The city is unsafe. And he says, well, we had the biggest travel season in Chicago ever. Man, people are probably trying to visit before you let it go totally to hell. But his own governor is now attacking him. Who was his bosom buddy. Now he's getting attacked because his dereliction of duty. He refuses to be the mayor. He's trying to be Martin Luther King. He's not trying to be a mayor for all Chicagoans. He's trying to be a civil rights activist for the black folk. Do your damn job, Brandon Johnson. And if you don't want to do the job, Get the hell out of this city. Guys, thank you so much for watching this. I appreciate every single thing you do for me in this channel. Your attention, your views are appreciated. May you have a blessed night. Until the next time, take care of yourselves. But most importantly, please take care of each other. And like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already.